Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering tools to help write a book. It's great to have the right tools at your disposal. If you're trying to hammer something into the wall, you don't want a saw, you want a hammer. You need to have the right tools in order to make the right progress. And luckily, with book writing, there are some awesome tools at your disposal that you can use. These are low cost, no cost, and some at cost as well. But these are the same tools that have helped me to write or ghostwrite 30 books, so I know that you'll be able to get use out of them as well. By the end of this video, you will learn the importance of keeping things simple, the power of automatic transcription, the most effective ways to use AI in book writing, and some tools that could actually hold you back from finishing your book. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. While the book writing journey does involve all these new gadgets and gizmos and AI tools, I want you to keep this as simple as possible. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's writing. It's simple. Put the words onto the page, refine it, push it out into the world. It's a constant ongoing process. The more empowered you can be with the tools that you use and the more that you can master them, the easier it is. But some of these tools require tons and tons of effort to get to that level of mastery. And you could spend so much time on the tool that's actually holding you back from the writing process. So keep this as simple as possible. Use the tools that are going to actually help you and not hold you back. One of my favorite tools for book writing is automatic transcription. There's so many different automatic transcription tools out there. You can automate it through Zoom, through Microsoft Word, Google. There's all these other tools out there. My favorites are called Adhere and Rev. These are two different voice-to-text transcription websites. I use both of them regularly. They're both great. They're both equally awesome. You simply upload audio or YouTube or even live record, and it will automatically transcribe the text for you in a matter of moments. It's really awesome to see it happening in real time. If I'm having a conversation with somebody and I don't have my audio recorder with me, I will open Adhere, I will click record, and it will just spit out the words. There it is, right there. Think about how much that can help you in the book writing process. Think about how easy that can be. Instead of sitting there and typing away, you could actually go for a walk or go for a drive, record yourself talking, and have text for your book that you can use and shape into chapters. It is the greatest way to make consistent, steady, easy progress with your book. If you're somebody who can engage people with the way you tell a story, and you're somebody who can, keep talking into a recorder, keep talking to yourself, and really feel empowered in that process, Adhere or Rev automatic transcription tools are awesome, and I highly recommend them. Now, it's likely that you clicked on this video because of AI, because of all the AI tools out there, because of these large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, and all the others. And I use them regularly in book writing, but not the way you think. I don't have it create words for me. And I think it's interesting when I talk to people about this, and they're like, oh, I expected that you used it to create words. I think AI writing is stilted. I'm just not sold on it, It's getting better, don't get me wrong, but it's not perfect. And there's another side to it too, that, for example, Claude, the AI platform, the makers of Claude stole my book. They literally stole my book illegally. They downloaded a copy of it. They used it to, along with thousands of other books, they used it to train their AI models, and then they had to pay a $1.5 or $1.7 billion settlement to make me and thousands of other authors, whole, I guess, which just feels cheap to me. I feel like my writing's worth more than that, but it's something to keep in mind that these AI tools are ultimately, some of them have been trained illegally on other people's work. And, I think there's a balancing act. There's a way to use this properly. So when it's spitting out words and ideas to you, it may have been somebody else's words or ideas. I think back a couple years ago, and there were a lot of AI-generated manuscripts that were being sent to me for review and editing. And I start reviewing these, and they talk about the best companies in the world, and they would always talk about Patagonia. Now, Patagonia is a great company. I love their message. It's very inspiring. But every single book was talking about Patagonia, and it's because the AI models were telling them about it. So they thought, oh, this is great and original. And because that, it was literally showing up in multiple books again and again and again, which tells me that the ideas being generated by these models aren't always original. If you're writing a book, you want it to be original. You want it to be different. It's not to say you don't want to focus on Patagonia, but take a different tack, take a different approach. Just regurgitating words that have been spit out to you isn't the way to go. I do know people that use AI as a starting point. They will lay the words down from ChatGPT and then they will rewrite it from there. I mean, if that's your thing, fine. It's not my thing. It's not what I like to do. But again, this is really about the tools that you can use. So I will talk about it. I know it's on a diatribe and a rant, but I think it's important to have that preface. AI tools are great in some cases, and I do think that they're very valuable in terms of ideas, in terms of outlining. I do use Notebook LM from time to time, and this is more of a self-contained sandbox. But it's a really cool tool that is really good at outlining and structure. And it's neat to take conversations and say, how would you create an outline based on this? You know, the outlining process before these AI tools could take weeks and months. You know, if you can really take a 1 to 2 hour conversation and turn it into a book outline, even just as a starting point, that's a really powerful thing. So I think there's some really cool elements that can come into play with AI tools like outlining and ideas. You know, if you're writing a book about usage-based economics and you quite don't know what that is and you want to learn more about it, or some blind spots to cover, it's a good way to come up with ideas that you can then research. I want you to think about AI tools in terms of empowering your writing and helping to do some of the busy work for you, and letting you do the best thought and best effort. On the flip side of that, there are tools that can really slow you down and get you out of your focus. You know, when you think about email notifications and text alerts and other things, they're distracting. You know, and when you're writing a book, you need focus. You need to be able to focus on the matter at hand. You know, so if you're somebody who's really struggling with focus, think about turning off your notifications, think about putting your phone aside. Think about playing your apps less frequently, less often. I want you to spend the time being bored. I want you to spend the time thinking in the background with your book. You know, playing a mindless app on your phone isn't going to help you typically write a better book. It's going to distract your mind. You know, I think it's so important when you can put your phone down and really focus on this deeper thing. You know, I love when, you know, I will work on a book near the end of the day, I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up in the morning refreshed with so many new ideas. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think of this yesterday. I can't believe this didn't. Our brains are constantly in the background, you know, working on different things, trying to figure things out. So it's great to be able to take some time sometimes and just let your brain do its thing. But if we're constantly distracted and we're unfocused, it's really tough to do that. So I want you to think about how you can use tools or not use tools in order to stay focused. You know, making sure that the distractions are cut down, you know, making sure that you're spending the time to let your brain think through these things. A lot of the authors I meet with have these software programs and these tools that they use during the writing process to help organize their words and to help put everything in one place. I'll tell you, I use word processors. I use Microsoft Word. I use Google. I use the most basic things possible in the writing process. I make it as simple and easy as possible. I don't focus on these programs. I just sit there with my word processor and write. That's it. It's boring, I know. It's not exciting. And I know there's hang-ups and issues with Microsoft and Google. People don't always love them. I get it. I hear you. But at the same time, find the simplest way to make progress. This isn't about the coolest tools and all this stuff. It's just about finding tools that are going to help you do the thing. This is about stripping this down to its basic parts and figuring out what you need to do to accomplish this and feeling empowered. You can write a great book. It could be as simple as saving an email on your phone or just having, you know, kind of a thread to yourself that you keep typing in. It could be a word processor program. It could be anything. Just make it as simple as possible. And by having that simplicity, it's going to be something that you keep coming back to. You don't want to have these hang-ups happen when you have to, you know, enter the program or start typing. You don't want to get frustrated by the tech side. You want this to be easy and simple. Make it as easy and simple as possible, and it's going to empower you to keep going. Through this process, the most important element of your book is you. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What is your unique vantage point that gives you the ability to speak authoritatively on this topic? What makes you the expert? And what makes your vantage point different than anybody else's out there? You have different opinions and ideas, and your uniqueness is going to make this book really stand out. You don't want the tools that you use to iron down or fade out or blur your uniqueness. You want to use tools that are going to uplift you, that are going to help you do your best work and best thinking. Your best thinking is going to help you write the best book possible. So whatever tools you end up using, don't let them get in the way of your thought process, your deep thought, your deep research, your deep thinking. All of those things together are going to bring you the best possible book. So just think about tools in terms of empowering you to do your best work. And if those tools are helping you do that, great. And if they aren't, get rid of them and try to find something else. If you want to learn more about tools to help write a book, I'd love for you to check out another video I recorded. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called Tips for Writing a Book in 2026. In that video, I talk all about the path to publication. I talk all about the writing process, how to keep going when you want to give up, when you hit those struggle points, just to dig deep within yourself and find the path forward. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.